સજાનંદ સ્વામી મહારાજની જય, અક્ષર પુરુષોત્તમ મહારાજની જય, સર્વે ગુણાતીત સ્વરૂપોની જય જય જય. Last couple of weeks, I've been thinking about a concept, and the word that came to my mind, because for the concept I was thinking about, was obedience. And in Gujarati માં કહેવા જઈએ તો I think it'd be ડાયો or આજ્ઞાકારી બાળક, આજ્ઞાન કે પ્યોર ગુજરાતી, પણ કોલોક્યુઅલ ગુજરાતીમાં કહે કે ડાયો છે. and I know Dingan has always said that કે our પિન્ટુ પહેલેથી તોફાની. So obviously obedience is not a virtue that I possess. When I look at like Vijay-bhai, Surhad and NG-ben and some others, Ketan-bhai, Vandan-bhai, very obedient by nature, and while I was growing up, that was always the case, because I always got compared to Vandan. Vandan is like epitome of everything, is it's like the first five in the class, and his always homework on time, everything is neat, clean, tidy, organized. So sometimes they would say, "You're Vandan's brother," as if like So I always had to follow, I guess, in tough footsteps, and I guess people who people who kind of know me on day-to-day basis, you'll see that I'm kind of pretty wild in that sense. And with Dingar Uncle also, I was just joking with Ketan by that, me and Dingar Uncle, when we talk, it's not many things I agree on right away. And the most recent thing was even like physics. We couldn't agree on physics. We're talking about black holes. So Dingar Uncle commented on black holes. So I was talking about Dingar Uncle that when a body, my common notion is that body falls into a black hole, it will get torn into pieces or get shredded or whatever it is. And while that is true for certain kind of black holes, but it's not true for other kind of black holes. That is true for maybe like a stellar black hole, which has formed from like a collapsed star, but there are supermassive black holes which are so big in size that their density is less than water. So even they have great mass, because of that they can exert all the gravitational pull of a black hole, but they're so big in volume that they the density is less. And in those black holes, those are called the mild black holes, you don't get shredded into pieces when you fall in the black hole. So we're talking about that. But the other day we were talking about multiverses and universes, and so not many things we agree on. But I was once long time back I was reading on the religious vows of a Catholic priest, and it was it was like a website I was looking into, and then they had the religious vows of Catholic priest. There are three vows: poverty, obedience, and chastity. So it's like આપણો કહેવાય છે તો નિર્લોભીપણું, બીજું કોઈ ધર્મ કે આજ્ઞા નિયમનું કહેવાય, obedience from that perspective, and chastity is like celibacy or brahmacharya. So even when we start our satsang, does anyone know how we get initiated into satsang? I mean, what is the term for that? When we satsang ma pellu, what is the first step? Vartman, right? And Vartman is actually a ritual where the guru or the sant gives you water in the hand, and at the, right, he gives you a boon ke kard karma maya bhayataham swami narayan sharanam mama. By the taking refuge of Bhagwan Swaminarayan and the Gunatit saint, the powers of destiny, the powers of karma, the powers of illusion of Maya are not able to affect that person. But that is a boon given in return to a vow of obedience. I will obey the commands of God and Sant. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it is. કે હવે હું આજથી પંચ વર્તમાન જે મહારાજે આપ્યા છે, the 5 વર્તમાns that Bhagwan has given, and there's 5 વર્તમાns for the sadhus are different than 5 વર્તમાns for the saints, But there are 5 વર્તમાns, and it's a contract. And water has 2 attributes in that. જે પાણી જે જળ લીએ છે, the water has 2 attributes. Water itself is considered to be a cleansing property. So you're purifying yourself before you are embarking on this spiritual path and journey, before you actually get into this contract, Or it's water is also witness of the Vayu Devda. કે એમની હાજરીમાં આ વસ્તુ થઈ રહી છે, So obedience is a very fundamental concept. And I was thinking about it, and yet I struggle, Yet I struggle from day-to-day basis, And I was thinking about it that, it's said, in looking up so many Vato references, and there's some great promises made for those who are obedient. So, for example, in chapter 2, number 50, if one behaves obediently before the great sadhu, then the great sadhu will take care of him. Nothing will have to be said about that. If you're obedient, the great sadhu will take care of it. We know from like a normal day-to-day life, right? When you have an obedient child, the parents will take care of it. They'll pay for their tuition, they'll pay for the college, they'll do whatever they want, But જો છોકરો એવો આજ્ઞાકારી હોય, then the parents will do it, from their own side, So it's kind of same type of relationship, exists between a guru and a disciple. The more obedient you are, the more willing the guru becomes. And it's not that guru is some sort of, giving you a punishment, or it's not that willing. The guru is always ready and willing, but it makes the process more easier. So the obedience plays a role there. And Swami says in chapter 2, 126, Tyag, Vairag may be in the varying amounts, but keep Upasana, Agna, and Suradbhav. The great are really pleased on them. Again, the part of Upasana, Agna, and Suradbhav. So the part of Agna, it comes. Agna is a command, and the quality to able to follow the command is obedience. So that's where it comes. Then chapter 3, number 31, it's a very famous fact, when someone asked, for someone like a mosquito, how can he actually attain the spiritual height of that of a sun? Machharni surya jevi kida gati thai. That's the question asked. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me, maybe it was Jagaswami or one of those, close devotees asked that question, And Swami explains with an analogy. Analogy he gives is that machhar, jo Garudni park mein besi jai, if a mosquito were to sit on the wings of an eagle, then he could actually soar the heights of an eagle. So that's what an analogy Swami was saying. And so the devotee asked, what do we consider as eagle, and what do we consider as the wings? So Swami explains that the eagle is the Mota Purush, and the wings are Agna and Upasana. That means to stay in the association of the Mota Purush, and equally important, to stay in his Agna. If that is there, then even someone who is very insignificant, who has no chance of, from a probability perspective, no chance of survival, he will still go through and attain the highest level if these two aspects are there, agna and upasana, the close association of a saint and following the agna of the saint. Then chapter 5, 372. The characteristic of one who is attached to the sadhu is that he remains happy in obeying the sadhu intuitively. And he does only that work which the sadhu tells him to do and nothing more. The sadhu remains concerned for him and regularly inquires about him after 5 days, 1 month, 2 months, or 4 months. And if the sadhu did not look after him, he would be spoiled. Therefore, he looks after him. So, again, the characteristics of someone who is really attached to someone is that he is intuitively happy. It's not that he has to force himself to do something, but sahaj avastha ma, he is happy following the wishes of the guru, And a couple of weeks back, we were in, I think, Viratbhai Maitri Ben's place, and Nisha Auntie and Chetan Bhai had come, and they had brought Keshav there, And Dingam was saying that how Nisha Auntie and Chetan Bhai have actually adapted with Keshav, that they are very happily doing whatever he needs, Chetan, Dingam was saying that Keshav ne khawa mate mangu na pade. He does not have to, ask for food, even, for whatever his smallest to biggest needs. Nisha Auntie and Chetan Uncle are actually, Nisha Bin and Chetan Bhai Uncle are actually fulfilling. And that somehow is that relationship that happens when someone is profoundly attached with the saint and intuitively follows his agna, that they will take care of the smallest to biggest thing. And yet, these are the promises, and like there's another one which says that although physically far away, he is beside me who obeys the commands of God. And although near me, he is far away who disobeys the commands of God. A person may be learned, he may love me, or he may hold high office, but he cannot survive in this holy fellowship if he disobeys God's commands, And we know Kakaji used to say that, in India, that you guys are here, but that Dinu Bhai, who's 10,000 miles away, he's close to me. Because Dingar Uncle intuitively followed his Agna and Abhipray, Kakaji didn't have to tell him. And over the last year, Dingar Uncle has been sharing some prasangs, which were very out of the box type of, instructions from Kakaji, but he very intuitively followed them. Dingar Uncle, in Hinduism, there is, in this 8 steps of Samadhi, the first step is Yam. And Yam has 5 different things. And the 5 different things in Yam is Satya, truth, perseverance of truth, tolerance or Daya. Then Ahimsa, that means practicing non-violence, practicing aparigraha, and practicing celibacy. So it's one of the fundamental things in spiritual elevation to practice celibacy. That's the first step. So Dingar Uncle had been naturally kind of inclined and inspired to follow celibacy. And so he puts this forward with Sudha Auntie, despite being married. And of course, we know the story. It didn't go as maybe as planned. And Sudha Auntie brought this up to Kakaji. And Kakaji told him, "Dinu bhai apne Sudha bina raji rakjo. Keep her happy, Now, here you come to a guru, a spiritual guru, for spiritual elevation. And the first thing that says in the 8 steps to Ashtanga Yoga is Yam, and Yam is one of the part of Yam is celibacy. And your guru is saying that, it's okay if you don't follow celibacy here, from the sense that we think of, But Dingar Uncle said, I didn't argue at that time. He very intuitively said yes. And when he said yes, and things, just divinity, the way it took care of things, and that Kakaji was really happy with him, and really paths opened up, And so Dingar Uncle has been telling me, as giving his examples, that that once he was in India, and Sudha Auntie had directly ordered some jewelry, and there was like a huge bill that got kind of wrecked up, and he didn't even know about it. He goes there, and Kaka said, "Dinu bhai, aap paisa થયા છે અને આને આપવાનો છે. Now, after certain years of satsang, you may be, I'm thinking, humanly. After a few years in satsang, તો આવો કોઈ પ્રસંગ થાય તો maybe we will endure. કદાચ doubt પણ થાય. But this was the beginning years. It is just getting into satsang, And here he comes and Dingar uncle said that मैंने कीधु, and he was okay with it. Then once Kakaji asked Dingar uncle to sign on a blank paper because he wanted to do sponsors. And Dingar uncle मैं sign करना भी दीदू, And all of these things which you would normally struggle as a beginner, but there was not a problem with Dingar uncle, of course. Because Dingar uncle, and again, I'm trying to see Dingar uncle in the sense that the way he lived his life, it becomes an example for us, of how we should be with him, And what he repeatedly stresses on, that when you intuitively follow the agana and wish of the Mota Purush, he takes care of you. So, I had some other things, but Dingar uncle, we pray that, I guess I started off as a Tofani, but we pray that, we become that, intuitively follow your Hagana happily, and really please you, Kakaji, and God. That's our prayer in Lotus Feet today. Sajan Sai Maharaj Ni Jai.